Blah, 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 blah.
Hello.
We have sound, I guess we have sound.
Yep.
We'll see if we can go with it. See how it goes here. That was a review. All right. Week 4 of the...
I thought it was week 5.
Yeah, maybe it is. I saw week 3, so I made it 4. So this is the continuation of the exploring the blues and major pentatonic scale. Major being pretty common, so they just call it pentatonic. And the blues or minor pentatonic. On your screen there is a review of the open position blues scale with its little passing tone in there. Here is the pentatonic scale with the passing tone. Very, with the passing tone, very exotic. All right, so I would actually really just consider that passing tone as a chromatic passing tone, not really a full-fledged member of the scale. It's a chromatic passing tone, so I would not really memorize this shape as 2 different shapes, just as one shape. So this is the blues. Let me put my, what did I do with it? Oops, the strap. Hold on, Doug. We're going down to the basement.
What are you doing? Going down the basement?
All right, I'm back. You get my strap. Because with the uke, we're a vintage shirt here, almost vintage. Mighty Uke, one of the good movie was out, one of the original ukulele movies, pretty cool, by a couple in Canada. We have a new one out on miniatures, people building miniatures around the world. Looks pretty cool. So, put my ukulele strap on. When it's on ukulele, it's a ukulele strap. On a mandolin, it's a mandolin strap. So, so there's the blues with the chromatic passing tone. Again, don't memorize it as a whole new shape. Right? And the pentatonic with the chromatic passing tone. All right. So here's we did open position, and then we actually did moved them up the neck. So now we're going to really break these out into their distinct different shapes. Here's the pentatonic as a review. We're blasting through this pretty fast because we're going to get on to the new stuff.
Remember, you can go back and rewatch the other weeks on YouTube if you want to.
And we explored these with the blues progressions, taken from my book, A Guide to Blues Progressions from A to Z. We pretty much used this progression, C, C7. So in the open position, you can get to this next position, adding notes, mixing them with the open strings. We had an iReal Pro application. You put it into iReal Pro. Now, turns out, when you move these up and down the fingerboard, you end up with 5 distinct areas on the ukulele's neck. The circled note with the dot is the root or letter name of this scale. So that first dot, if we move this up to fret 3, we have the C blues. Now on other instruments, the guitar, it has the same 5 regions, and when you do a 1-octave scale, because of the multiple sets of 4 strings, you end up with 7 different positions on the instrument where you can play a 1-octave scale. Now I'll go to root to root. So I played the last shape on that row, starting on fret 2, and I did it as D blues. I don't really care what the notes are, just that note. But it's key to know the notes of the neck. This really helps, or you need a chart for each one. All right. So on the ukulele, I sort of treat this differently. I don't, because there is only one octave position with a high G tuning and 2 1-octave positions with a low G. You need a different method of navigating and connecting these. In fact, on the high G tuning, there's only a 1-octave position. You can see on this 5 positions up here, it's only the last one is actually root to root. I'll do it in D. If we do it in C, it's fret 12, which is really tight. So it's a little tight to play. So, the blues shapes 5 positions. Now, I come back to this. Pentatonic has the same thing. A quick glance there just becomes almost like reading a foreign language that's not text-based. It's like, what the heck is this? Again, this one only has a 1-octave. Shape is the last one. So here's what we do. We actually will learn too about connecting these. So a good way to go about this is to take each one of these shapes and locate the root of the chord or the scale. That's the circled note. And we'll do it in C. We're sticking with C. So here is the blues shapes without the green-blue boxes. They designate overlap, and we're going to be going over that a bit. But here is the original shapes now. So starting with string 1, fret 3 is C. So I would place finger 1 on string 1, fret 3. Find that C note and master that position. Keep it in C, play a C chord. So I'm going to jump to the camera now. And so, now that shape should be in your mind. Probably not, but that's fine. So here's C. Then we had E flat. So the scale was C, E flat, F, G, B flat, C. So I memorized that, visualize that. So C, E flat, Here's G, B flat, E flat, and F. So this will be movable. This is D, right? So let me put this back. So that's, let me see, is that the blues one? Yes, that's the first position for C. Now, when you see in that second shape on string 2, we can locate C on string 2. That is up at fret 8. Fret 8. There's C, fret 8. Now, 5, the number 5 shows up a lot. On some strings, it's going to be like 5 away, or just find it. You'll hear if you're wrong. There's C. Now, back to that scale. The C blues was C, E flat, F, G, A B flat, C. So now, use these as a road map. So the B flat note was always a whole step or 2 frets lower than the C. So if I know C here now, there's my B flat. So here's C and then E flat, F. So here's C, E flat. That's the first 3 notes of the blues scale. There's overlap. Off glitch. Goes my C. And then we had an F and a G. So I would actually take the notes, put them in a circle or a bowl. Put them in a circle, write the notes out. C, E flat. Then from C, I can find my E flat. Here's my F. Again, we only have to memorize, if we memorize 3 frets, we have the open strings, G, C, E, A, and we memorize C, F, A, D, C flat, fret 5, and then we memorize D, G, B, E. So here's E, here's E flat, here's B, here's B flat, G, F. So now I'm going to transition back to our 5 shapes. There is the second shape there.
Oh, sorry.
There's my C. Watch this. You might see some fancy editing going here. Maybe not.
What?
Fancy editing. Watch, ready. So where's that shape? There we go. 5 shapes. Oh. All right. Play amongst yourselves. Magic of editing.
On the fly.
There you go. So.
Do we still have audio though?
Yes, we do have audio. Looks like we have audio on this end. So
yep,
there's my C, fret 8. So. Might be fingers 1 and 3. Two, 4.
Just closer.
That's right. Just pull closer. We're being our own grips, audio people, everything. All right, I'm not going to move that little window around then, huh? Now, let's jump back. So see those first 2 fingerboard shapes. Notice the series of dots. So there's 3 of them in a row. From here, C. Then there's a 2 and a 1 there. Now compare that to the overlap of the next shape. There is an overlap there. Let me find my overlap. There you go. Ready? There's an overlap. See the green square?
Just sold a forever membership from this video.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you very much. The green is the overlap. Now it's a different finger. the second position, it's fingers 1 and 2 to play those notes. In the first C scale position, that's not C blues, that's not open. It'll be my, remember, you can play any note with any finger. Right, so there's the overlap. Overlappage. Now, the key thing is how do I get from that one position here to that next one? Well, I can slide my pinky up and that puts me in a nice position there. Now here's how I would organize this. Chances are you'll be like me and you'll not master all 5 of these in 1 week, 2 weeks. It takes a bunch of weeks. So what I'll do is master one position first. Notice I'm avoiding string 4. I have a low G. Once you really master the 3-string set, you can easily add string 4 if it's a low G. If it's a high G, it comes a little bit more complex because the note is actually in the range of strings 1 and 2. But just deal with these 3 strings. Then also identify which fingers is playing which notes. Finger 1 is handling the C, the G, and the E flat. Finger 3 is handling the F, B flat, and E flat, pinky. Finger 3 on the F, pinky for those 2. When I move to this position, it's finger 1 and 2 handling these. So that means I could actually slide from the E flat to the F and be pretty efficient. If I'm on my second finger, I can get to my first finger. So I want to try to navigate between these.
Ed said his brain is not wired for improvisation.
Not yet, yeah.
But your brain probably feels like when you first started to learn any instrument, that probably felt like you weren't wired for it. So it just takes lots of practice.
Yeah, think about this. This is a grab your ukulele. Never grab a ukulele. Play like a C7. When you're doing the blues scale, C7 is a great chord. Now what I did there is I'll move in for extreme close-up. One of these days will be a 2-camera thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Uke view and a...
I have 2 grandchildren.
My kids.
Yes, Kelly's kids. And I lose my phone when Allie comes over.
Oh, yeah.
She takes it. So I would practice pinky slide. Finger 1 slide. There's C7. I did the glissando. Then I would master that second position. Now if by chance say I slide from my E flat here to my C, I'm just going to switch to finger 1. Same thing here. If I happen to slide with my second finger, and when first learning this, you can just switch fingers. So I slide from my first finger, that's fine. My third finger, that's fine. And you actually do over time get to this level, this detail of doing this. One really good way is teach somebody else what you learned. Remember, as a teacher, you only have to be 1 week ahead of your student. So show that, and you'll see, you'll be able to point out things to them like that. That's fine there, but if you slid finger 1, that's fine there. I want to get to finger 3 here. So I'm visualizing these shapes. I'm visualizing these shapes as I'm playing them. And I can identify the notes now. The in-between, like say I want to focus on the G note. Play the C7. Oh, you're typing. Sorry. Ooh.
Go ahead.
Monitor. Play
I was
C7.
thanking
I'll play the C7. If you don't have somebody to play it for you. I'm going to switch to finger 1. slide to this G. If I'm in the open position, I can add the open strings with it. All right, let's go back to the little transition image shape here. Now, this pinky C. Put finger 1 on it. So we're way up at fret 8 now. Getting into the area of the ukulele for some of you that you bought, but you haven't really used it that much, right? As soon as you play, there's a famous old joke about country music that they say, if you're playing past the 3rd fret, you're just showing off. Because they just 3 chords into truth. That's country music. So here's my C. Now these, I have 2 dots here. I have a guitar that has 2 dots here, so fret 7. So that helps me identify fret 7 really fast. The other 2 dots are fret 12, the octave. Just the 2nd note of the open string. So I consider these the open strings. Right, so here's my C on string 2. The 2nd position, I played it with either finger 3 or 4. The decision is if I'm going to play predominantly on strings 1 and 2, some little licks and stuff like, or use my dominant fingers, then I switch to get to that F. I avoid the stretch. It's too much work. Stretch means that you didn't plan ahead and use a different fingering principle. So there's the overlap, the green overlap. Now here's the blue overlap. That same shape actually. See it? You can actually do that too. Just find little exercises that's going to really help you really learn that fingerboard. I cannot emphasize enough that really knowing the notes of the neck is such a liberating.
We're gonna put that on your tombstone.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I knew the notes of the neck.
It's absolutely amazing. You end up forgetting stuff. You're allowed to forget stuff because you don't have to rely on it anymore. So there's the overlap. See the blue square? They're the exact same shape. So now I'm going to switch to finger 1 for C, because every time I played C with finger 1, I can get my pinky E flat. Play a C7 again. And this is the bluesy note. Now this position here, if we counted the dots in that middle position with the blue and orange arrow, that's supposed to be squares. That covers 5 frets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those dots cover 5 frets. We only have 4 fingers, so we do have to do some.
Does that tell you what fret?
No, it doesn't tell you what fret because the root, they're movable. I could take the same shape.
Probably a
Back to the second one. No, that's a good question. Well, if you move it, you need that root to identify it. Right? It'll be a different key then. So that 3rd shape, finger 1 is a good one to start with.
Did you cover that and I wasn't listening sometimes?
What's that? The root?
No, like how to find, where.
No, you find in C, we found C. Right? That orange. Now there's an orange overlap for that next C. Turns out that 3rd C on string 3 is actually fret 12. So if you're on a soprano, you can't even play it because they usually end at fret 12. Concerts, you don't have a lot of frets. And even on the tenor here, it gets really tight. Now I remember this one because this is a C minor chord. You can see some chords in it. No pun intended. Now, if we go back and we were playing like the minor progression, C minor blues. This is where the complexity of the ukulele is. This was the exact same notes. C, E flat, C, E flat, C, E flat. Right, different fingering. So this is why the ukulele is hard. C, E flat. So in tenor you can get it a little bit. The notes die pretty fast, but right. So I have 7 different positions now. So I actually really don't have all of them memorized that well. But I know the notes of the neck now. So I really focus on the C, E flat, and I sort of know the notes at this point. But move to a different key. So say the C minor blues, C minor. Then I went to C, F minor. You can actually switch scales there and do F minor blues if you want. So I'm going to take that 4th position over the 4th position and move it down to F. Let me transition over. Hold on a second. We're doing editing on the fly. There you go. Watch this. Whoops, wrong one. Locked it. This will work.
Oh, there you go.
Now this, man, we're getting fancy here now. So that's the C way up there at fret 12.
You have to redo all the early week workshops and get the graphics on the screen for everybody.
Yeah, at some point when I get through all these, this is probably be 2 workshops, an hour-long workshop. So they're condensing these a little bit. One would be on the blues. Maybe it's like more videos because it does last an hour. Now, last one is fret 12, so a little tight. So out of the 5 positions, 4 are very functional, usable. Maybe 3 if you're on a concert. So then you do have to change keys. So F. Here, play C minors. I'll go to F minor.
I forgot that for a second.
Yeah. Although the C blues scale works for the F minor, I switched to the F minor. F minor, F blues.
Should we keep going? Or
Yeah, why not?
switching or
Then go back to C.
D minor?
Go back to F, I'll point something out. So there's an F here. It's just the position moved up. G7. Back to the C minor blues. C minor, pentatonic, C blues. All right, let me see. That's an, oh, there you go.
I'm your real life real pro.
Yeah, right, yeah. We didn't bring it up here. So, visualize the overlaps. So I have to hide this, hold on. Winging it, huh? So there is the 5 positions. The key is locating that root, knowing the notes of the neck. C, F, A, D. So if I want to hear for A blues. Now as I'm playing it, I just did the shape A blues. Now I'm figuring the notes are A, C, D, E, G, A, C, E, A, C, D, E, G, A. Especially the spots where there's 2 notes.
Yeah, we have people learning from Portland, Oregon, and
Nice.
Seattle. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember to share if you know anybody who might be interested in this.
Now the same process works with the pentatonic. Different notes. Take that first shape, C. I have my video there. Cool. C, D. Remember, go back to the open position to get the notes. C, D, E, G, A, C. So here's the C, D. Here, let me add the camera here. What the heck?
What are you doing?
I'm going to add the camera to this video and pop it
to
over.
that screen. Oh.
Yep. The heck. Is that the one right there? Okay. Oh, it is there. I like that. There you go. Good. All right. Back. Little guy. C pentatonic. C, D, E, G, E, G, A. Well, the pentatonic shapes, I always try to spot the C major chord in there. So there's the C major. And locate that C again on string 2. Now the A, D, C, D, E, C, D. Yeah, remember, look at the right shape. I was looking at different shapes saying, oh my geez, I thought that note's not in the right spot. Now, you might recognize these quickly. Let me hide the video for a second. I want to show you something. Blues. Pentatonic. Blues. Pentatonic. You'll notice that a lot of them are that same shape, so just the dots different. So take a look at the blues, that very first shape. That's at fret 3 for C. Now I'm going to pop in the pentatonic and look at the last shape. The same. The root changed. So ready? Here we go. So the C blues, C, this is the famous blues box if you came from the guitar world. Now, E flat pentatonic. So here you go. I'll give you a tough chord. Ready? Play C.
Oh, I thought you were
C. Yeah, no. First C. C pentatonic. The C blues we're playing. Now, do you know E flat? Let's do this.
What?
Yeah, E flat. I'm playing the same notes, but it's actually coming out sounding different, doesn't it? Right? Exact same shape. There's a blues and a pentatonic for the exact same shape. So if I took this pentatonic here, this note's E flat.
I didn't know I was going to be quizzed
Yeah, you want to
today
be
on
quizzed,
chords.
right? Take the first shape, blues. Same shape, different root. Now, here's one way you can sort of help yourself out initially is the relationship is a minor third. So the pentatonic scale off of C blues would be the next note, E flat. Here's where you can do it. I'm playing the, if you go back to camera, need an editor, producer. So I'm going to start on E flat. I'm channeling My Girl from the Temptations. So that's E flat. Different sound. Right now I'm going to change the sound to a C minor sound, the C blues. The chord changes the sound. Now that does help you. Say you know the blues here. And you want to know the pentatonic version, just go down the whole step, not a whole step, minor third. But it's a little bit of mental gymnastics, which sort of messes things up. So blues, pick 2 positions each week that are adjacent, and these are adjacent going across the little grid, and learn to navigate them. Now, here's a really good way to do these. Take each position, and notice I started on finger 1. Start on finger 2. And then quickly get into the fingering that would be the basic default fingering for that. There's 2, pinky, what we call a contraction. I want to get my first finger to that fret. 3. Third finger, I'll slide. Try to quickly get into the fingering that's default for that. Pinky. We'll go to my third finger. So I forget and slide. Maybe I have to stretch. Here's a good way to really memorize it also, another way. Play it with 1 finger. 2 fingers. Look up Django Reinhardt, famous gypsy jazz guitarist. Considered one of the top 3 jazz guitarists. He'd be in the same discussion as Wes Montgomery and Charlie Christian for jazz guitar, Django Reinhardt. He was a gypsy jazz guitarist and traveled all around Europe. And he is a little caravan trailer or something. They made cellophane flowers or something and sold them, caught fire, and he went in to rescue his wife, and he burned his hand really, really bad. So bad that he had 2 functional fingers and the other ones were just really messed up. So he could only play with 2 fingers, a lot of single note stuff, wow. And it was amazing the stuff he did. Once in a while he could use the 3rd and 4th finger to sort of fuse together to make like a chord or something. But he mainly did solo stuff with amazing improvisations. He knew harmony really well too. Yeah, look that up. There's a lot of players too that play in his style now. There's a festival in I think Belgium or France every year. There's New York has a Django festival. But just 2 fingers, he can do stuff with 2 fingers was amazing. So, but if you however many fingers you have, you learn to use them. And on the ukulele, or fretted stringed instrument, guitar, ukulele, sort of that same tuning, it's all about navigating the different possible pathways through those notes. And that's where the book of 6 Secrets to Ukulele Fingering would really help. You know, there's motion principles for creating your own fingering system. These are the 5 positions. There's actually 7, but they're overlapped because of the EF, the half steps and scales. So they sort of just consider them the same. For the blues and pentatonic, they don't matter. One of the reasons the blues scale I think is so popular in guitar especially is there's 7 1-octave fingerings for the guitar, and every one of them is a basic 4-finger scale position. None of them are like 5 frets like we have here.
Oh, I thought you wanted to go back to the video.
I do want to go back to the video. There you go. Nice. Hey, look at that guy.
There he is.
Hey. Yeah. Just print them out, burn them into your memory. I wouldn't try to overload them right away and sort of combine them and stuff like that. But then go back and add that passing tone. So if it's the blues, either get what the note is, that's the sharp 4, flat 5. So then turn these into numbers too. 1, I'm gonna move up here. I'm looking at the shapes. 1, flat 3, 4, sharp 4. Now once I locate the name of that note, F sharp, I don't have to worry about that. You'll create licks. Embellishment slides. See if I can bring up that iReal Pro. I don't think the audio will play it. Never mind.
Do you just want to play it on?
Yeah, play C. Ready? You
Wait,
know
on
these
your
chords.
on here, right? I can take this off.
No, you can do it. You can play the chords.
Okay.
Put Kelly on the spot.
Wait, hold on.
Look, there's Kelly. Man in the.
Audio and the.
Yep, you can just play this progression. Everybody can sort of play along.
Don't have to worry about chat comments. Everybody's busy
Doing the
learning.
scale. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Now here's a standard blues progression. We did what we called it the quick 4. It went to the 4 chord, which is F. In the key of C, the primary chords are C, F, and G. G7 is used a lot, so it fits in with the triads perfectly. And in the blues, every one of those chords could be a 7th chord, as shown here. So C7, F7, C7, F7, C7, G7, F7, C7. Keep going. Cool. Nice, you stopped.
I didn't have the audio on. I was like, oh gosh, I just played the whole
So
thing.
what I was thinking
Nobody
was
heard.
to, no, our audio was on, right?
Oh yeah.
So I was played in one position, create some licks. If it sounded like a good lick, I'd do it 2 more times. That's about the maximum that you want to repeat something is 3 times, and then change it up. Do some things like this. There's a good way to practice these is to play each position. Do a sequence of 3 notes off of each note. Then, okay, it's a short little scale there, so I move it up. But then don't do the pause in between. Add the passing tone in. just connect a little bit of each position. So that's good, Kelly.
We could do that live on a stage.
Yeah. Hammer-ons, pull-offs.
Do you want the video back on for them to see what you're doing or not?
You can put the video on. Oh, the video. Darn, yeah, jeez. I'm looking at the chords. Hey, jeez. Got two screens. I should put it in studio mode. No, then whatever's showing is it. Hammer-ons. Let's go back to the chord progression a second. So this time, just don't do the sevens, just do majors. All right?
Okay.
Got that? You did the progression?
So wait, if I don't, so I just C and
C,
F
F, and G. You do G7 for
G7.
G. Now I'm going to switch to these shapes. The pentatonic shapes. All right?
Ah.
So we'll go back to the progression. But I want to do the pentatonic scale, and that works better actually over the majors versus the sevens.
So everybody at home, if you want to play along, you're
just do C,
C,
F, C, F.
or improv.
Yep.
Whatever sparks your fancy.
All right, ready? And I'm just going to do pentatonic
Or do they
now.
don't need the things.
Okay, you want to see? There you go.
Yeah, if they want to play along.
There you go. Okay. Pentatonic.
Oh no, okay. Then
Right
put
there.
that other one up there. Where's that other one?
Oh, for you?
Yeah.
The chords?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so.
Here you go.
Okay, ready?
So 2, 3, 4, C, F, C. Nice. I'll do
I
a little.
liked it the other way.
Yeah, I'll
with
show
the
you.
7.
Yeah, 7 sounds more bluesy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one of my secrets I did partway through. The C pentatonic scale. C, D, C, D, E, G, A, C. It's also the same notes as the A blues. A, C, D, E, G, A. So partway through, I just switched to using my A blues scale fingerings and positions. Now I went to string 4, but if you do, then it's easy to add string 4. Add one string to these, if you're doing a low G, to these scale positions and everything. Right now, the home version, if you're doing the, you can mix, remember the super blues, you can mix the blues and the pentatonic. Now I would do this. Let's go back to the blues positions and add the D note. That's it. D is a whole step above C on the same string. So here is C, D. All right, that sound good over there. So if I go up to this C position here, add the D there. So don't think of it as a memorizing a new shape or nothing, just adding notes in.
I think we lost viewers when I joined in.
You did? What? That's all right. You can use these scales a lot, like the pentatonic workshop, which is we have an hour break, right?
What?
Pentatonic work. The triad workshop.
Contemporary triad.
Yeah, boy, yeah, bring that in. You notice when I did do the solo over the C, F, and G, G7, and did the pentatonic scale, it was a little bit more melodic. F. G. So do that at home too. You can be two players. Play a C chord. Play an F. Did the same lick pretty much, and it sounded subtly different, right? G7. Overlap there. Now this position here, when you do the pentatonic, I'll point some things out for you here, especially over the pentatonic position, is the triads. In that first shape, the root on string 1, that's C. The note right below it on the next string is a G, and then the note between at fret 4 is an E. That is the C triad, C.
Gigi's on. Hi, Gigi.
Right.
Tell Isaac we said hello. We both are doing well.
Right. Tell Isaac everything we're doing is G.
Is he like G?
Yeah, G, favorite key.
Oh, it's his favorite key.
Now, the second shape, the higher 3 notes on the bottom, that looks like the nose and the 2 eyes looking at you. C on string 2, fret 8, and then the 2 notes right below it on the previous fret 7 on strings 1 and 3. That's a C triad. It does look like somebody looking at you, right? 2 eyeballs and a mouth.
No. Like a confused mouth, right?
Right, yep. There's overlap. That's the same shape on the top of the shape on shape 3. Down to the 4th one, that C is way up at fret 12. That root 3rd is the next note on the same fret, and then finger 1. So those chords are in there, everywhere. I'll go back a second. Ready? Put the screen on. So, ooh, let's see, bad back.
Transfer?
Ooh. Yeah, it's transfer. So we're not with the right one. So, that first pentatonic shape. C major. Next one. C major. And the last one, way up here.
We need to get better chairs.
Yeah, we need those gamer chairs. If we're streaming, we need gamer chairs and lights. And here's somebody else who looks just like us
Yeah,
doing
we got
workshops.
2 other people.
We run a couple iPads here for audio checking and video. All these shapes will be available online on my website. If not, just email me. I can email you these.
We should have done this stream from outside.
Yeah,
it's so nice out this
man.
weekend.
And the birds.
Yeah, they're loud.
Nice,
The
yes.
birds.
What's that?
Let's see if you could hear them. Because the window's open.
Well, I have I set some filters on the
Sound?
yeah, to cut out background noise. I should have put the take 10 years off of your age filter on, but I didn't for
Or
the
make
camera.
me look like I had 2 more cups of coffee. This virtual life is tiring.
So the key is to just take these shapes, these notes, learn the notes ultimately, know the notes of the chords, the notes of the neck, and just play like you got to play thousands of ideas. Every one of them won't sound great. Some of them, the rhythm you change up will sound good, and just they become part of your vocabulary. Now, one thing that does happen and will make you develop your own voice on your own is by navigating between the positions. Set fingerings give you set sounds, and everybody does the same. Everybody does this shape. You go on the guitar, they call that the blues box at fret 5 in the key of A. You'll find blues licks in there. That's a blues lick I stole from a book. Actually, in music, you're not stealing anything. It's pretty much been done before. We only have 12 notes to work from. The rhythms, which sort of make them different. So, here's a lick. I saw it in a book like this. I'll do it in C right here. I'll do my low G though. But it did this. Famous blues lick. So, wow, that's pretty cool. I like that. But I added some stuff. I double stopped it. I kept this note going. But I had it in the book, just music store, just in that one position. Then I thought to myself, well, wait a second. It's just notes. You move it anywhere else. Take famous blues licks. Take this one. You have that was a low G. So let's do it in D. What the heck? Here's the D blues. Fret 2. A different key. E now. Now you would do different positions, try to get that same lick. That wasn't it, but that's something else. All right. A little rambling, but here you go. 5 positions. Blues. Start to identify where they overlap. That'll allow you to position between them. Try to develop a fingering so you know which fingers play which notes. And you're trying to get to those, and it's improv, so you can play the note twice and switch fingers.
Are all these images on the
Website
URL
somewhere?
at the bottom, learningukulele.com/blues?
Yeah, a lot of this will be here. Now there was a one lesson I just started recently doing with students. Was a lesson I do with students, and it was navigating the C major scale. So it took C major. And I did it off every finger.
On every fret?
Yeah, every string. And I'm doing one also for the pentatonic and the blues. But what it does is give you a fingering solution. Now, the book, there is a book out there, I didn't reference in here. Quick Start Scale Fingerings for, started out originally as Quick Start Scale Fingerings for lead guitar. I adapted it to ukulele, but it takes the 6 essential scales: blues, pentatonic, Dorian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and the Ionian, which is the major scale. And it gives you a fingering solution starting on each string, 4 and 3, every finger. And the ukulele, they're done in C. So it would take the C, it would do like string, well, C is right up fret 12. But that gives you a transposition chart for every one of them. But the example would be here, I'll do it in D, Z, Z. D, F, G, A, C, D.
I want to know who came up with those names.
What's that?
They like sound like names of aliens.
Yeah, there are
All
Greek provinces, yeah, nodes. So I'm going to take that
Crazy.
last scale position there and move it to fret 2, and it is D blues.
D blues? Or
Yeah, D blues.
Like
D,
blues?
like da blues.
It's D blues.
The letter D blues. D, F, G, A, C, D. We know C from our C chord. We know fret 5, C, F, A, D. D is in our G chord. D is in our D. D, F, G, A, C, D.
So if someone says, Kelly, do solo in D, I can just sit there and go.
Yes, you could. Now, then it does finger 1. Then it does finger 2. What would I do? I would stretch to get to that. Then
There's so much to learn here.
finger 3, I'd slide. Pinky, go to finger 3. So it doesn't matter which finger I end up on that root.
Whew.
Yeah, it's a lot there. It's years and years of work.
Yeah.
It's good though.
So you cannot master this in this 1 hour lesson.
Yeah, or a lifetime really. But you can just thoroughly enjoy it. So there is no such thing as master the ukulele in 30 days or 7 days.
Tips and tricks and
a lot of snake oil salesmen online selling you ukulele prowess in 30 days. Forget it. You already know. If you've been playing for more than 30 days, challenge yourself too. Do something new. Do it every day. Every week, I'd take 5 weeks and just master these. Spend 1 week just doing one position. Move it. CFAD. So this is D blues, that first shape. E blues. Now we went up connecting them. It actually goes back too. So if this is E blues, there's an E here. After a while, it becomes like I tell this story as a kid. We'd go out to my grandfather lived on a farm. And I was a Boy Scout, and me and my dad would go out, and you can lay in the field outside of Westchester and look up at the night sky with binoculars and just see tons of stars. Not so much light pollution back then. And you get to where you could identify like 13, 14 different constellations and their names. It was really cool, you know. You knew about like the Big Dipper. Somewhere, 2 of those stars point to the North Star, stuff like that.
And connect them all, yeah.
Yeah, and connect them, you know. The fingerboard is like that almost.
Huh.
But now if I went out and looked up at the night sky, I can recognize Orion. I always forget, but he's at the end of our driveway. When I come home.
So come to our house.
I think he's in the driveway. I think he's in summer or winter. I always forget. Yeah. Each season I remember, and I think I'm going to remember when, but I don't remember. Can't connect the dots. You know, I can see the Big Dipper, but which stars is the point to the north? Which way is north?
So you can't find Ryan from my driveway.
So these are all like these little night sky constellations. Now, how do I connect one to the other? And that is the fingering principles, the 6 secrets of ukulele fingering, adopted from Chuck Anderson's book, who I studied with. It's not a fingering system. It is pathways. It's the fingering principles of how to navigate the fingerboard. And my website has lessons for developing that slide. Like you do like a series of develop the motor skills to do it.
This is what I grew up with. Trying to watch TV, and then I just hear this all the time. The other day, my husband said to me, when the kids were being loud, but he was trying to have a conversation with me. He couldn't talk while they were like being loud. And he's like, how do you tune that out? I'm like, well, if I could watch a movie or a show with this going on my whole life.
Yeah, as a musician, you have to sort of like focus on what you're doing a little bit. But then you still have to develop a certain percentage of your listening and focus on fellow musicians. I mean, otherwise, you hear when you go to these meetup groups and jams, you know, some people playing out of time or wrong chords and different stuff, you know, or going to the wrong section.
To the room around them.
Right, yeah.
Or when we stop to restart a song and someone just keeps playing. Like, hello, we're stopping.
Yeah, hello. Song stopped.
Gives us a good laugh. Oh, we're not, I think our video's on and I'm not even.
Our video's not on, darn. We're looking at the shape.
To the shapes.
Look at that, darn. 2 screens. All right, so there you go. 1 hour down the tubes. So spend the next hour waiting for the Triads workshop. Master these positions. If you want, I can email you these graphics. You can have them. They're on the website somewhere. Just go to the website and do a search for blues or pentatonic. It will show you all the lessons that are available. All right. This overlapping graphic, I'll show you this one last time. That looks like you would probably be thinking, like, you gotta be nuts. How are you gonna memorize that in those relationships? It just comes with time. Famous philosopher said, "Time waits for no one." Mick Jagger, the Rolling Stones. So just get to work. All right, adios.
All right, see you at 4. You already stopped it.
Not yet.
Oh.
See you at 4. You got yourselves an hour.